A, B, 3, lavish, let's go. A, B, 3, lavish fitness.
Welcome back to the AP3 Lavish Fitness Podcast. Yes, I'm your host, AYAAN. And today, we're talking about something that's almost every person listening does every single day. Something so normal. Something so common. Something so accepted, right? That most people never stop questioning, right? Sitting, yes. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Really? A whole podcast about sitting? What? Hold up. What's going on here? But trust me, by the end of this episode, you'll never look at a chair the same way again. Because excessive sitting isn't just making people less active. No. It's changing their muscles. It's changing their metabolism. It's changing their posture. It's changing their circulation. It's changing their brain. It's changing the different ways of the human body's Rubik's Cube needs to function, right? And in many cases, it's accelerating aging, okay? The scary part, well, many people think they're protected because they go to the gym. They train for 45 minutes, right? You know, they spend the next 10 hours sitting a lot of times. Sitting, right? Sitting down, scrolling on the Instagram, scrolling on the Snapchat, and scrolling on the TikTok, right? People spend time sitting in the office chair, the car seat, the couch. Repeat, office chair, car seat, couch. Office chair, car seat, couch. Office chair, car seat, couch. Which one is it that you're in right now? At this point, you know, some people's fitness routine is basically, one workout surrounded by hostage situations involving their furniture, right? Today, we're going to uncover the science behind prolonged sitting and why movement throughout the day may be just as important as the workout itself, you know? So let's dive in. The body adapts to whatever you always do repetitively, right? You see, one of the most important concepts in exercise science is something called the SAID principle, right? Specific adaptation to impose demands. That's what that means. Okay. So that's a fancy way of saying your body becomes what you repetitively ask it to be, right? Lift weights, you become stronger. It's not spaceship science, okay? You run regularly, you become better at endurance. You practice balance, you become more stable. You sit all day, your body becomes incredibly efficient at sitting. Ooh, okay, you didn't know that, huh? And that's exactly what happens, right? The human body is an adaptation machine. It's very true, right? Let's say you live in a hot climate and you go to a colder climate. At first, you're going to be uncomfortable, right? If you're not familiar with that type of environment, right? But over time, your body starts to adapt. You start to get used to it, right? You start to get used to it. So, it responds to repeated stress, okay? But here's the problem. The body doesn't know the difference between good adaptation and bad adaptation, okay? It simply adapts. If you sit 8 to 12 hours every day, your body begins remodeling itself around inactivity. Muscle weakens, joints stiffen, movement quality declines. Energy expenditure decreases, right? Your body starts acting like movement is optional. Because from its perspective, you're showing it that movement isn't needed. No. And the body hates wasting resources, right? And if you're not using something, your body starts reducing it. You get what I mean? So that's why inactivity becomes a snowball effect, okay? Less movement leads to less capability, okay? Less capability leads to less movement, all right? And the cycle continues and it continues and it continues and it continues and it continues, all right? So, what happens to your muscles, right? Let's talk about muscles. Because sitting creates one of the most common dysfunction patterns seen in the modern adults, okay? The first victim, your hips. When you sit, your hips remain flexed, okay? Hour after hour, day after day, day after day, month after month, month after month, year after year, year after year, the hip flexors becomes shortening. They begin to shorten, right? The lipososis, the lipososis becomes real tight, right? That's what happens with that. Your what is it called? Your rectus femoris becomes tight, right? When you sit down a lot, the pelvis begins changing position, right? You see, this often contributes to anterior pelvic tilt, okay, guys? And now the lower back starts compensating. Yes, that's when people start to look like a humpback. You see, the glutes become less active, okay? The core becomes less active, okay? Movement efficiency decreases, okay? So people then wonder why their back hurts. My back. Why squats feel awkward, right? You ever see people try to squat with the barbell, or you can just tell there's an imbalance. You can just tell one leg is just looking kind of disbobulated, the core and everything under the sun, right? It don't matter how much they squat. Why walking uphill feels harder? Meanwhile, their hips haven't fully extended since the Obama administration. Okay? So let's talk about gluteal amnesia. This is one of the favorite topics because it sounds fake. Gluteal amnesia, yes, but it's actually real. You see, the scientific terms involves reciprocal inhibition. Okay? When one muscle group becomes overly active and shortened, another muscle group becomes neurologically inhibited, right? So you got the tight hip flexors, you got the weak glutes, you got the glutes that literally become less efficient at activating, right? So that means your glutes are very, very, very important, very, very, very critical, very, very, very vital, right? They're one of the most powerful muscle groups in your body. They stabilize the pelvis. They support the spine. They drive athletic movement. They protect the knees. They generate force. Yet many people are walking around with glutes that forget their job description, right? Put that butt to work. Now, and then they wonder why they feel weak, okay? The posture problem. Now let's talk about the posture problem. Modern sitting posture is a disaster, right? You spend hours looking down at the phone. You know, you're scrolling. Okay. Let me buy this on Amazon. Okay. Oh, okay. What this person said. Okay. All right. Let me go to Instagram. Oh, let me look at what my ex is doing for the next 2. Okay. All right. Oh, let me look at some new shoes. Okay. Oh, what time the game start? All right. Okay. What is time? Right? You see people do it all the time, right? Looking down at phones, looking at laptops, driving, working at desks, and the body adapts, right? Shoulders start to round forward, the upper back rounds, the head shifts forward. This is called forward head posture. The posture, right? And it creates major problems over time, right? For every inch of your head moves forward, the stress placed on your neck increases dramatically. Your neck muscles start to work overtime, right? The shoulders start to tighten. The upper traps become overactive, right? And over time, headaches become more common, right? And so what this develops into, ladies and gentlemen, is called shoulder mobility decreases. That's what happens, right? And people say, oh, I'm just getting older. No. I don't want to hear it. You're carrying your head 6 inches in front of where it belongs, okay? Gravity is collecting interest on the bad posture. Yes, gravity is collecting interest. Okay? I know the human body is just so sophisticated, man. It's mind-boggling, right? And that's why your spine was designed to move. Your spine. The spine is designed for what? Flexion, extension, rotation, side bending, right? Movement keeps spinal tissues healthy, right? You see, your movement improves circulation to the disc, okay? Movement distributes load. Movement maintains mobility, but sitting reduces move variety, all right? Your thoracic spine becomes stiff over time. Rotation decreases, extension decreases, breathing mechanics become compromised. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Some people, well, actually, it's something many people don't realize, right? Poor thoracic mobility affects shoulder health, okay? That's why some people can't raise their arms comfortably overhead, okay? The shoulder isn't always the problem. The upper back is. Everything is connected. The body works as a system, not as isolated parts, okay? Now let's talk about the cardiovascular effects, all right? Now let's talk about your heart and blood vessels. Because movement isn't just about muscles. Movement is circulation, right? When your muscles contract, they help pump blood through the body, okay? This is called the skeletal muscle pump. The skeletal muscle pump, the skeletal muscle pump, all right? Think of your muscles as secondary circulation assist. Every step helps blood move. Every contraction helps circulation. But when you sit, that pump slows down. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Circulation decreases. Venous return decreases. And over time, sedentary behavior is associated with what, ladies and gentlemen? HBP, high blood pressure. Number 2, greater cardiovascular risk. Number 3, poor vascular function. Number 4, reduced exercise capacity. Your body was designed around movement, okay? Movement helps circulation. Circulation helps life. It's just a circle of life, okay? You guys thought you were just going to be born into this world and not just, you thought you were just going to put your body on cruise control, on airplane mode, and not have some type of consequences? No, that's not how life works. That's not how life works. And even for the affluent rich people, a good amount of them have some type of physical thing going on with them, right? So everybody's going through this. A lot of people are. It don't matter how much money you have, okay? Let's talk about sitting and metabolism. This is where things get scary, okay? Even one day of excessive sitting can negatively affect glucose regulation, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. One day, not 1 year, one day. When muscles contract, they absorb glucose from the bloodstream, okay? You see, your muscle is one of the largest glucose disposal systems in the body, right? Because what? But when muscles stay inactive, glucose management becomes less efficient, right? Insulin sensitivity decreases. Blood sugar controls worsens. Scientists have repetitively observed this effect, right? And so that means what? Prolonged activity directly affects metabolic health, right? Meanwhile, people are buying detox teas. Oh boy. While their muscles haven't done meaningful work since breakfast. Yes, since breakfast. The body doesn't need a detox tea, ladies and gentlemen. It needs movement, right? It needs movement. It doesn't need a damn detox tea, okay? Let's talk about mitochondria and energy. Let's talk energy, okay? Most people say, oh, I'm tired all the time. I'm tired. They say that I'm tired. They say I'm tired, coach. But why? One reason is mitochondrial function. You see, Mitochondria are the power plants inside your cells, okay? They produce ATP. ATP is energy. You see, movement stimulates mitochondria, okay? Exercise stimulates mitochondria. Physical activity improves mitochondrial efficiency. But inactivity reduces stimulation, okay? This can contribute to fatigue, reduced endurance, low energy levels, poor recovery. People often assume they feel tired because they're getting older. We ain't never getting older. Yeah, sometimes, but hold on. But often they're tired because they're physically understimulated, right? You want to stimulate yourself with video games, music, sports, right? But you don't understand that you're physically understimulated. Your brain needs movement too, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Um, you see, movement isn't just physical. It's neurological. Every step sends information back to the brain, okay? You see, the brain constantly receives feedback from your feet, from your ankles, from your knees, from your hips, from your spine. The system is called proprioception, okay? Your body's internal, proprioception. Your body's internal GPS. Movement sharpens this system, okay? Inactivity weakens it. Well, other things it does, the balance decreases over time, right? Reaction time slows. Coordination declines. This is one reason falls become more common as people age, okay? Not simply because muscles are weakened. No. But because movement information decreases, okay? Some people haven't challenged their balance system in so long that stepping off a curve feels like high risk adventure, okay? And that brings me to my point of sitting and bone loss, right? Bones are living tissues, okay? They constantly rebuild. What builds bones? Strength training stimulates bone growth, okay? Movement stimulates bone maintenance. Inactivity reduces those signals, okay? Scientists call this bone remodeling, right? Osteoclast breaks bone down. Movement helps the builders. Inactivity helps the demolition crew, okay? This is why strength training becomes increasingly important with age. Not less important, more important, right? And so that equals to what? The survival system. As you know, our body, the human body, right? The body that God gave us is designed for survival. Not aesthetics, not social media, not beach season, not survival, okay? When movement decreases, the body starts conserving resources. What are those resources? Take a guess. Muscle, expensive. Bone, expensive. Mitochondria, expensive. The body begins trimming costs, and unfortunately, muscle is usually first on the chopping block. Ooh, you don't want to hear that, huh? If you don't use it, you lose it. Trust me, I know this. I know this from my own experience, okay? That's one thing about life. If you don't believe what somebody else says, go through it yourself, and you will see what happens, right? It's called self-experience. I experienced this, right? I experienced myself go through phases where I'm active a lot and I'm not active a lot. The phases I'm not active a lot, I do it to see how much muscle, how much strength did I lose? How much like I want to know about the human body. It's called studying the human body, learning its weaknesses, right? That's what I did. You'd be surprised how much strength you lose, man, if you're not being active. um If you don't use it, you lose it, ladies and gentlemen. Not because your body hates you, because your body is efficient, right? So why strength training is the answer. Strength training directly fights sarcopenia, osteoporosis, insulin resistance, balance decline, neurological decline, metabolic decline, right? Few things help provide as many benefits simultaneously, right? When you strength train, muscles adapt, bones adapt, tendons adapt, ligaments adapt, the nervous system adapts. What else? The cardiovascular system adapts. What else? The endocrine system adapts. What else? I can't think of. Wait a minute, I can't think of none of those. This is why muscle is often called the organ of longevity. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So just remember that. Because stronger people stay independent longer. Okay, independence is one of the greatest forms of wealth. Wealth. Okay. Most people don't have an age problem. They have a movement problem. The body expects movement, okay? The joints expect movement. The muscles expect movement. The heart expects movement. The brain expects movement. When movement disappears, decline begins. When movement disappears, it declines quietly. When movement disappears, it declines slowly. One day at a time, okay? One day at a time. That's all it takes. One day at a time, right? One day at a time. It reminds me of, I told this one girl a long, long time ago. A girl I used to talk to a long time ago. And I remember she would drink water. She would drink tap water. Ladies and gentlemen, if you drink water out the sink, right? Out the sink, that's 100%. Well, it'll have a filter. When you drink that water, that's 110% tap water. Okay? You got heavy metals in that water. You got all these chemicals in that water that over time, it can lead to complications, right? Such as cancer, such as hair loss, such as a lot of stuff it could lead to. And I remember telling her about what happens when you drink water out the sink, 110% tap water all the time. It will break your body down. And she told me, oh, I'm still living, ain't I? But people, you don't understand. When you do things that harm your body, it doesn't happen immediately, right? It happens over time, gradually and gradually and gradually until it's too late. And see, by the time it's too late, it's like the consequences at that point have gotten almost astronomical, right? It's called catching up to you, right? And that's even scarier because you just never know. You just never know. So yeah, walk more, stand more, stretch more, lift weights, move often, okay? Because movement isn't just exercise, movement is life. And remember, at AP3 Lavish Fitness, we don't just train for appearance, we train for longevity, capability, confidence, and freedom. Okay? Until next time, my friends and family, stay strong, stay mobile, keep moving. And like I always say, stay lavish. God bless.